is recording. Hello, my name is Amy, and this is a 90-minute restorative yoga class. We're going to start at the back of our mat, feet planted, weight evenly distributed between your feet. We're just pulling our arms down away from our ears, extending them long, trying to make our neck as long as possible. And we're actively pulling our shoulders down and away. We're taking full inhales to capacity and full exhales, letting everything out. On an inhale, we're lifting our arms up while keeping the space between our shoulders and our ears. Palms come together. On an exhale, bend the elbows and bring the palms to behind the head. Take another deep inhale. And on your exhale, we're trying to lower our chin towards our chest. Try to take deep breaths. I know it's tight in the back of the neck. Inhale, we're lifting our arms up high. Exhale, bring the palms down while pushing them together. Elbows are out wide. And we're squeezing our shoulder blades together in the back. Continue with full inhales and exhales. And slowly lower chin to chest. One last full inhale here. On your exhale, slowly release your hands. And we're letting our head come back to neutral, nice and slow. All right. So we're going to start sideways on our mat today in a standing wide-legged forward fold. It's helpful to have blocks if you have trouble reaching the floor. And some people, sometimes I like to put a blanket rolled up long ways underneath the arches of my feet, especially if you have if you have flat feet or balance issues, it might be helpful to have a blanket roll. But you might just prefer the grip of your mat. So you can try it with the blanket, and if you don't like it, then just remove it. So we're standing with the arches of our feet in our blanket. Our legs are wide. And our toes are just slightly turned in just for some leverage against the mat. And to begin with, bend your knees as much as you need. And on an exhale, we're just lowering to the floor. If you can't reach the floor, this is where your blocks become an extension of your hands. But the goal here is to just slowly melt down, allowing all of the muscles that do not need to be used, so basically your upper body, to relax. We're letting our head hang heavy. With every exhale, try to let go a little bit more. Let your jaw be loose. As the backs of your legs start to warm up, you'll be able to sink lower without even trying. So we're not forcing it, we're just waiting for it. send your breath to those places where you feel the muscles catching. Again, you can bend your knees as much as you need. It does change the degree of the stretch, but everyone's body is different, so you might need it in a different place. So take a full inhale, and on our exhale, we're just walking our palms over to the left side, and then trying to rest back down. So our palms are kind of over by our left foot. So when we come down, you're gonna feel a stretch in the back of the left leg and down the right side body. And you can bend your knee again. About 30 more seconds here. Just breathe through it. Nice and slow. Walk your palms all the way over to the right foot. You can shift your weight and bend the right knee if you need. And try to lower the upper body. All kinds of city noises today. You don't have to stay static. If it feels good to move, then move. Like, your body knows what it needs. We just have to sit with these stretches long enough to identify the places that need our attention. Okay, very slow. Walk your way back to middle. Heel toe your feet closer together. Bend your knees deeply, and we're rolling all the way up. Coming out of this safe and slow. Head is the last thing to come neutral. Okay, so that's the most active pose that we'll do today. Everything else is a little more chill. But, like, can you tell a difference in the backs of your legs? Like, the uncomfortable ones, unfortunately, are the ones that, like, we need.
Right.
Okay, so let's move the blanket out of the way, and I'll turn to face you guys. Well, no, it doesn't really matter. So we're gonna do yogi squat, but we use our blocks. So if you're really tight, you might want 2 blocks. If you're not so tight, maybe just 1. Or you can use it upright like this. So just, you're gonna have to play around with it. Just to start today, I'm gonna start with 2 blocks. And so we're going to sit down on them. But for yogi squat, our feet are slightly turned outwards this time. And on an exhale, we're coming down to our blocks. And you just wanna make sure that your knees do not pass over your toe, the ankle of your knee. That's okay. No, that's okay. Take your time to get in it. Yep. That's what it is. Yep. If you're not able to squat down onto the blocks, then just sit and work your way on top. The whole point of this is to get your body to be able to do that. So our legs are wide, our feet are turned out, and we're just being mindful that, like, our feet aren't so far in that our knees are over our toes. We want the angle of that to be like a 90 degree. So we're using our elbows on the insides of our knees. Palms come together. And we're exhaling down so that our upper body is relaxed, but our elbows are still gonna actively push out on our knees. So slowly exhale and just let your head be heavy and put pressure on your knees with your elbows. You should feel a nice pull down your sacrum. And we're just going to hold here. We're sending our breath to the pubic bone and to the insides of our knees because we're working these internal muscles of the legs. We are going to do about another minute here, but if you want to adjust, like if you want to sink deeper, you can, or you can just modify the position. Excuse me. Take my books out. One last full inhale here. And fully exhale everything out. Empty the lungs. Nice and slow. Try to bring your knees closer together. We're just bringing the feet closer together. And now we're going to relax. So, we did 2 active poses to begin. Now we're going to chill. So ideally, you would have a bolster. If you don't have a bolster handy, you can just use a pillow. If you don't have a pillow, you can roll up like a thick blanket or quilt. We just want this long ways in the center of our mat. We're going to start on the left side with our legs staggered. I prefer having my bottom leg forward, but it might feel different to you on your low back, so play around with your legs. You can switch them if you'd like. On an exhale, we're coming down to our side, using our arm as a pillow, on top of the pillow, and we're resting here. You're going to feel this in the obliques and the top of the hip on the right side. If you want to open the shoulder, you can bend the right arm behind you. But we're going to get really comfortable here. This is one where everything can be completely passive. If you'd like to deepen the stretch, bring your arms to either side of your support and cactus your arms and then rest back down. This deepens the spinal twist. And again, let everything be passive here, even if you have to consciously go through one muscle at a time and let it go. For the final part of the stretch, if you want to deepen again, on an exhale, turn your head the opposite way on your pillow and rest back down. But if you're straining to hold this, if you're not able to fully relax, then don't do it. Take a deep inhale. If your head is turned, bring it back on your exhale. We're pulling the palms close to the shoulders so that we can push ourselves to the middle of our mat. We're going to take a pause before we do the other side and come to the middle. So our hips are on the floor, but we're lying back so that our whole spine and head are supported by the pillow. And the arms come out wide. So we're opening the chest. We have a gentle back bend here. An option to keep your knees bent, or you can straighten them. If you straighten them, it just makes the back bend a little deeper. But this is another one where everything can be passive. So take a full inhale, fully exhale, and try to just let everything go. You'll be surprised at what will try to hang on, even in a relaxing position. On our exhale, we're rolling over to the right side, staying on top of our support. Staggering our legs and coming down, using your arm as a pillow. You choose where your left arm goes. It can be in front of you, or you can open it behind you. to deepen the stretch, cactus your arms around your pillow, and rest back down. To deepen further, on an exhale, we're slowly turning our head and resting back down. Deep inhale. On our exhale, we're bringing our head back to neutral. And we are going to come down to our backs off of our pillow, but I forgot to tell you to pad your mat. So let's bring a little extra support to our mat since we're going to be lying down on the floor. And for starters, we're just going to come down, hug our knees in, and rock side to side. So we haven't laid flat yet. So just give yourself a chance to get used to the floor beneath you. Come back to center and cross one foot over the other. We're holding our toes here, just enough to feel a stretch in the front of the shin and ankle. And we're trying to let our shoulders rest to the floor. If you have trouble reaching your feet, this is where you can use a strap around your legs and hold the strap. So if you can't actually reach your feet, let me think about this. Yeah, you can use a strap instead. Try to press your low back down into the floor. And if it feels good to you, you can even rock side to side. If it's too much, just lay still. On an exhale, release your feet and just slowly roll your ankles in different directions. You can hear some pops and clicks, and that's good. We're getting all that fascia to break down. When fascia builds up, it creates adhesions on the muscles, and it restricts your mobility. So now we're going to switch feet. Whichever one was on top, we're going to replace it and do the opposite. Yeah. This is really good to do, especially if you've had ankle injuries. Whenever your body gets hurt, it just slaps scar tissue in any direction to try to heal that injury. And that makes the muscle fibers, so muscle fibers run in specific directions, but when there's an injury, the body just like slaps things everywhere to get it to heal quick. So that's what scar tissue is. And so you have to break that scar tissue down because it's not a regular muscle anymore. Okay, you can release your feet, and again, do some gentle ankle rolls, alternating directions. Maybe even flex and point your toes a few times. Okay, so we're going to continue lying on our back, and you need your strap this time. We're going to do some hamstring stretches and some IT band stretches. So we're going to start with our right foot in the strap. Your left leg can be bent or you can straighten it. And it doesn't really matter if you can't get, perpendicular to the floor. It's fine. Like wherever you are is wherever you are. If this is the angle that you can come to, that's where you can go. We're just meeting your body. Make sure the shoulders are resting on the floor. So we are holding the strap with both hands, but our shoulders are rested down. We're sending our breath to all these tight muscles in the backs of the leg. Try to let everything besides your hands that are holding this strap be relaxed. Even your leg. Your leg should not be working. It's your arms that are holding the leg. Okay, so we're going to take the strap with both sides of the strap into our left hand. Release the right arm. On your next exhale, we're rolling over to the left. Trying to keep our right shoulder on the floor. So you're going to feel this in the top of the right hip and down the IT band. And just breathe through it. some point that stretch reflex will stop fighting you and you'll just feel like, and that, when that leg relaxes like that, that's when the stretch is actually starting. That's why we hold these stretches for so long. Take a deep inhale. On the exhale, we're slowly rolling to center. Nice and easy. When you get to the middle, switch hands. We're relaxing the left arm. On the next exhale, we're opening up to the right side. If your hips are really tight and this left side wants to pop up off the floor, then try bending the knee and planting that foot. We just want our hips to stay on the floor so that we can isolate the inner leg muscles this time. Nice and slow, we're working our way back to the middle. And we're going to replace the right foot with the left leg. And it's going to feel completely different, so don't judge your body. Everybody has a good and a bad side. So again, we're holding the strap with two hands, both of our shoulders are on the floor. And if you can't become straight up and down, that's okay. Just meet your leg wherever it is. The goal is to work your way up here, and even beyond that. Some people can get their leg to their face. I can't, this is my limit. So just send your exhales to the back of your leg. into the internal rotation now. So we're taking the strap into our right hand, relax the left arm. On your next exhale, we're internally rotating over to the right side, leaving our left shoulder down. Check back in with your breathing. Notice how on those exhales, your body just sinks lower and you don't have to try. On an inhale, we're going to come back to the middle. We have one more of these. Take the strap into the left hand, relax the right arm. On your next exhale, we're externally rotating, opening to the left side. If this right hip doesn't want to stay down, plant the foot, bend the knee. Slow, we're coming back to center. Take your foot out of the strap. And just hug the knees in and rock that out. Let it go. I do those hamstring stretches in almost every class because it really frees up the back. Getting the legs loose really helps with tension in the back. And because we all do too much sitting. Okay, so let's bring our feet down, and you want your feet wide, like to the edges of your mat, and we're bringing our knees together. So now we're doing internal rotation with both sides. And it might feel weird because you probably have a hip imbalance, so your sacrum might not be resting evenly on the floor, but that's what we're trying to wait for. So we're holding this, even though it probably feels awkward, and we're trying to let everything else be passive, And we're just breathing and sending our breath to our hips. Our bodies are so used to being in an incorrect position that getting them in the right way is going to feel awkward at first. So we're gonna start to move our knees, but our feet stay exactly where they are. So take an inhale while we're in the center. And on an exhale, we're going over to the right side. So both knees and our feet stay the same. So you probably won't get your legs all the way to the floor, but you're gonna feel it in the top of the left side here. So this is an exhale. Inhale to center. And we're exhaling over this time the opposite way. Inhale, center. Exhale, over. This is really where you're going to be able to tell what parts of your legs need the attention. Inhale up. Exhale, over. And we're going to hold here. So just try to let your legs completely fall over. Our feet are relaxed. Our upper body is stationary. We're going to hold this for 2 minutes. So let it be passive. Once your stretch reflex stops resisting you, you're going to feel this on the top of the right hip, right above the femur, below the hip bone, in that little pocket that gets really tight from too much sitting. Take a full inhale. On the exhale, we're coming back to center, really slow. Just wait here for a breath. Your knees can be apart. On the next exhale, both knees are going over to the right this time. Come down slow and relax everything. Let it be passive. It's gonna feel weird at first. Okay, very slowly, we're gonna work our way back to center. And you can just bring your knees in normally and windshield wipe them side to side. Okay. So we will do one more pose on our backs. And this time you need a block. So we're gonna do supported bridge here, and you can use your block. It's where we do bridge, which is hugging your heels in close to your hips. Knees are hip width apart, and on an exhale, you push up. So instead of holding this for 5 minutes, we're going to use block as support underneath the sacrum. So it comes in different levels. Like obviously this would be the lowest, middle, and then high. High would be very intense. So if you have a sensitive low back, I would suggest starting with the block totally at its lowest level. And we're looking for the sweet spot here. So we're trying to be at the base of the spine, right on the sacrum. So we're above the tailbone, but below the hip bone. It should feel really good. If it doesn't, then try scooting the block up or down. Our upper body's relaxed. And for the first minute or so, we're just gonna hang out right here, letting our low back get used to the block. So once your body's starting to get used to it, you can try windshield wiping your knees back and forth, just massaging into those. There's a lot of tight fascia right there. It's called the thoracolumbar aponeurosis. But it will like totally lock up your whole back, just that tight fascia right there on top of the bone. And it can't be stretched because it's connective tissue, it's not a muscle. So you have to break it down by massaging it. So you can do it on a block, you can do this on a foam roller, but it's important to target that fascia. So this is kind of a free moving pose because everyone's hips are different. Different things are going to feel better to you. If it's available to you and you like a lot of pressure, you can bring your feet up. It changes the degree of the stretch. You can also do little micro movements while your knees are tucked. You can extend your legs for legs up the wall. So this is something you can actually do up against the wall too, so you can relax, you can fully relax. And by holding this position for a while, so say you did this like for 5 or 10 minutes every night, if you have a hip imbalance, it'll allow you to come back to like homeostasis. And you can tell if you have a hip imbalance by putting your heels together. And if one leg looks longer than the other, you're imbalanced. So you play here. You can do whatever feels right. If you do too much sitting, you can also extend your legs long. Do a little back bend here, and you're opening up these hip flexors, doing the opposite of what you do if you're sitting in a chair. But this is your pose. Do what you need. Do about 1 more minute here. If your feet are not already on the floor, bring them down now. We're taking a full inhale. On the exhale, we're sending our hips up so that we can take our block out. And just exhale down and roll that out. You can hug your knees in, undo that pose. And from here, we're gonna work our way up to seated, so however you wanna get there. I don't have a graceful transition for that one. Okay. So we are gonna do I'm gonna kind of turn at a sideways angle so you can see me too. We're gonna do a shoulder opener. It's basically puppy dog with supported shoulders. So you need 2 blocks side by side, and obviously like you would want them in the front of your mat. I'm doing this just for camera purposes. But if you have sensitive knees, you might want to like roll up your blanket, make it extra padded. But we're coming down with our elbows onto these blocks. And our hips are gonna stay in the air, so we don't sink back like in child's pose. We stay upright. We're trying to lower our upper body down. So on an exhale, we're trying to get our forehead to the blocks first. And we're gonna hang out here. So we're The goal is to open up underneath the shoulder girdle, and everything is very tight here, and it's normal to feel guarded. So it takes about a minute or so just to even get the stretch started, just for your shoulder to relax enough. Your body's protecting itself. It's afraid that we're going to hurt it. So we have to wait that out. We have to wait the stretch reflex out. Check in with your breathing. On those exhales, you're going to sink a little lower. At some point you might feel open enough to bring your forehead to the floor. We have about 1 more minute here. If you find yourself getting frustrated, just concentrate on counting your inhales and exhales. It forces you to just be in your body and not worry about anything else. All right, you can straighten your arms and just slide back off of your blocks. That's a very intense one. We're just gonna come to seated and shake that out. It's intense, but you probably already can tell a difference in like your shoulder mobility. So from here, we're gonna do another easy one. You need your pillow. We're gonna put it under our knees. And our feet are a little wider than hip width. Our upper body is just gonna be completely relaxed. We're taking a full inhale. And on the exhale, we're just melting down. So wherever you are, we're not trying to touch our toes. We're not trying to like walk our arms out as far as possible. We're just trying to melt down onto ourselves. You want your head to be completely heavy to where you feel a stretch at the base of the skull. Let your jaw be loose. Your eyelids are loose. With every exhale, allow yourself to just fall deeper. You should feel a good stretch in the backs of your legs and spine. Good. Full inhale. On the exhale, really slowly, we're rolling up one vertebra at a time. Our head and arms are dead weight. And our head is the very last thing that comes upright. Okay, so from here. All right, so I accidentally forgot to put my do not disturb on my phone, so I had a phone call come through. So this is a little less than a 90-minute video, and I apologize, but I'm gonna ease you back into Shavasana now.
Oh no.
All right, so anyway, it's time for Shavasana. There's no telling like how long ago that was. So option to use props or not. But this is our final time to connect with our breath before we have to go back out into the real world. So just take this time to listen to what your body's trying to tell you. Start to bring some awareness back. Maybe by taking a few final deep breaths or making small movements. And just roll over to the right side and pause there for a few breaths. And take as long as you want. I'll meet you at seated when everyone's ready. So just close your eyes and bring your hands to heart center. And really think about how you're feeling differently now than when you first started. Just know that whatever's going on in your life, this peace is always here waiting for you. Thanks for taking my class today. Namaste. How are you guys feeling?